I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your 3-minute cattle market update for Wednesday, March the 8th, where the market position on these fat cattle on a cash basis is just easy come, easy go. A week ago we were all excited that we were able to jump that market up there and have been able to gain some dollars pretty easy there. A lot of it has to do with that Fed cattle exchange kind of causing these packers to tip their hand a little bit, showing how much they need cattle, and this huge negotiated movements that we've been seeing here of late. But now we've got into that deal where the basis is so huge that there's no way that these guys that have cattle to sell, the market ready cattle that are finished, there's no way they can resist it when they're hedged up. They've got to go ahead and take that. The packers know that. They know that they'll take less money so they can cash in on that basis. We're looking at a $10 basis right now. So we've already seen them starting to sell cattle lower, and we haven't seen the predominant market yet. We haven't seen what the price is going to be, but we know it's going to be lower, and we're just kind of preparing for that. But you look at the board, live cattle futures and the April contract, Monday was down, Tuesday down 20 cents to end the day on Tuesday at 115.35. You know, last week we traded cattle 125, had a high of 126, so you look at that. Feeder cattle on April, Monday was down 27, Tuesday down 32, to end the day on Tuesday at 122.35. Our weighted average on last week's fat cattle trade on 140,500 head, a giant negotiated trade after an abnormally large one the week before that of 125,400, and that compares to 64,800 the same week a year ago, which is kind of what we were used to until probably the last 6 months or so here. But buying a lot of cattle negotiated. It's been healthy for the market when we thought we were going to be in some times that are going to be really tough to keep it much over $1, and here we are up in the mid 120s, or were last week. Probably won't continue, but the weighted average price for last week's live steers was 124.76. that was up just 36 cents, but after it gained $5 there the week before that. But your dress trade on an average dress steer was 199.98. that's up $4.08. So really healthy market up in the northern plains where they sell a lot of those dressed cattle. Box beef cutout values continue to rise. We've got choice carcasses up to $212 now as of the close on Tuesday. Your spread has widened out to nearly $7, and that shows grilling demand. Really, what they're buying. They're buying those more expensive rib cuts because guys have these nice weekends coming up where this early spring is drawing people out to their backyard grills, and they're wanting to invite their friends and neighbors over and cook them a steak. You don't invite people that you really like over and cook them a chicken breast. They're not going to be very impressed with that. You might get by with a pork chop. We know that pork is a tough customer whenever it comes to competitors, but fowl is not. But you look at some of these fires and the heavy winds that we had early in the week on Monday. It was terrible here in the Texas Panhandle, western Oklahoma, up into southwest Kansas, up into northwest Kansas too. But just storms brewing up in the plains, and we've even seen loss of life and many of the instances where people were injured or killed. They were trying to save livestock. So tell the PETA people about that. How many times have they braved into a 50-mile-an-hour brush fire to try to get some cattle moved or get a gate open where some cattle could get away from that? And I don't think you'd see them doing that very often. But you look at some feeder markets. Oklahoma City on Monday at 8,100 head. Feeders were steady to $3 higher. Guys still wanting cattle, and they were feeding off that market before. They'll react to the lower market if we get it as that happens, but they cross that bridge then, but they're still reacting to what happened last week. Your light calves for turnout steady to $5 higher, but your bigger calves, now we're getting into predominantly more of those new crop bigger calves weighing deep in the 5s and in the 6s. They were $1 to $3 lower. They're not near as attractive to turn out as some of those old croppers were here in the last several weeks. Joplin at 7,000 head, steady to $4 higher there. A little later on Tuesday here, El Reno had their calf sale on Tuesday, over 4,000 head of calves. Sold steers $1 to $2 higher, and heifer calves steady to $1 lower. The highest cattle seen really so far this week's in Glacial Lakes Market in Watertown, South Dakota. I had a load of 834 pound steers you see on Beef Market Central there at $126.50. And that's your 3 minutes. We'll talk to you on Friday.